Hello! My setup today is an absolute nightmare. This thing's been spilling water all over my bed. I've knocked this setup over about 6 times. It's just not going well. Welcome back to the Liverpool gaff. I've only just come back really in the past month, so at the end of spring break, like my last video. I was planning on doing 1 or 2 more videos back here, and then just before I go back to Leeds. So I thought I'd do something that I actually did a presentation on in uni, if you can't tell by the hoodie, and the very crap attempt at Turian face tattoos. I was planning on doing the biology behind the Mass Effect races. Obviously I can only utilise stuff that we were given in the law, so the games, the books, the dialogue, the codex entries, so I don't have a lot to go off of, but I'm going to be using my biology degree for a bit of chaotic evil. Chaotic good? I don't know what this would be. I'm going to try to explain and characterise the differences, the biological differences between the races that we have in these games. So for those who don't know, Mass Effect is a third-person shooter RPG that was made by BioWare, and as we know, I love BioWare. They have missile in their stinky little clutch. If you've seen my Tumblr, you know what I'm talking about. Mass Effect is set in a future timeline where humans have already figured out how to become spacefaring fully and have made contact with other species and races. The races that I'm planning on talking about are going to be the ASARI, the TURIANS, the SALARIANS, and the KROGAN. If you want me to cover any other species, because I was thinking about talking about Angarans and Quarians, then just let me know in the comments or whatever. I don't know, just let me know. But yeah, let's get started. So our first race is ASARI. Now, ASARI are a monogendered race, and what that means is every person who is an ASARI all look female. They're all female presenting. And they can live up to about 1,000 years old. So their life stages are separated into 3 different groups. You have the maidens, which is basically ASARI puberty. You have matrons at 350, and you have matriarchs at around 700. Quite old, binty little ladies they are. ASARI are usually a blue-teal skin colour, and they possess purple blood, which is similar to earth marine worms, possibly due to the presence of hemerethrin. I think I'm saying that right, hemerethrin, which is a type of blood that is used by marine worms, as I said earlier. I'm assuming this is the blood that ASARI use due to its coloration. However, hemerethrin is not as effective as hemoglobin. It has quarter the efficiency of human hemoglobin. I guess this means that maybe ASARI do not fare very well in low oxygen environments. Who knows? I want answers, BioWare. If anything I say in this video, you need to answer it for me, because I want to know. ASARI are very similar to humans anatomically. So they have 5 fingers on each hand, 2 legs, arms, breasts. We know why BioWare decided to do that, because they're just a bunch of perverts who write for BioWare. The only difference is that ASARI do not grow or possess hair like we do, so ASARI wouldn't have long dead cells of hair coming out of their heads. They have these cartilage-made tendrils that are quite stiff. It's like cartilage is what your ears are made out of, so they're flexible, but they're pretty stiff. So they have these cartilage kind of curves towards the back of their heads, and that's all they have. ASARI mating is where the biological interests take place for me, because they mate in a weird way. They use a form of parthenogenesis, which is similar to what earth plants do, and ants and wasps, but their version is a bit more sci-fi, weirdly enough. It's called melding, and it means that they can reproduce with any species at all. So you can have an ASARI and a Batarian, an ASARI and a human, an ASARI and a Turian, an ASARI and a Krogan. Any mix will work. They actually prefer to have children with other species as a way of kind of mixing up the genetic history of ASARI. We'll get onto that later. There's a reason behind that, which is fully understandable. Any offspring of these ASARI crosses, or ASARI in general, will always be ASARI themselves, no matter what species they've melded with. Because of the process of parthenogenesis, it only produces female gametes, does parthenogenesis, at least in plants, ants and wasps. How melding works has not been explained very well in the law, or not in depth enough for you to be able to kind of give a definitive answer, so it's very rough, is this. So anyone who's a geneticist, don't come for me, because I remember when I presented this, my tutor, who is a geneticist, was like asking me all these questions about it, and I was like, girl, I don't know. Do I look like I know? Am I a BioWare writer? Girl, no. So how it roughly works is 2 copies of genes is provided by the mother ASARI, and the nervous system of the mother's ASARI alters one of the copies using a copy of the father or the partner as a map or a genetic guide. It's almost like a genetic food menu, like the ASARI neurosystem's kind of looking through the menu and going, yeah, that looks good, we'll take that. Yeah, we'll take that. So it's like a genetic menu, a buffet, if you will, and they pick good inheritable traits. So, as an example, Liara, who's one of the ASARIs that you have in the game as a companion, her father, technically, was an ASARI, but she was half KROGAN, and because of that bitch knows how to brawl. She knows how to throw down. She could probably kick your ass. She knows how to throw down and throw a few punches, and that's because her dad was a KROGAN. I was going to say ASARI, that doesn't make any sense. Melding can also be used in a non-reproductive nature to transfer memories and thoughts and theories on knowledge in general. However, this is where I said you need to wait, because I was going to talk about it. Melding is not 100% foolproof, as it can give pure-blooded ASARI a genetic condition known as Ardakyashi, which translates to Demon of the Night Winds in an old ASARI dialect. Now, this only occurs in pure-blooded ASARI, so people whose ancestry is just ASARI, nothing else, and this is at a rate of 1% in the general population, so it's similar to the rate of the frequency of red-headed people in Earth's population. So, just imagine every redhead that you know having a genetic maladaptive gene. I mean, it kind of is one. Anyways, the reason why this is an issue is because Ardakyashi, when melding, cause an overwhelming and essentially damaging the nervous system of the melding partner. So they and it makes them vegetative, essentially. It turns them into a vegetative state. So obviously this isn't good. Little whoopsie, little tee-hee. Yeah, these ASARI are therefore seen as very dangerous and tend to have a close eye on them at all times. A lot of them are locked into rehabilitation or work programs or monasteries, and so, because this condition has no cure, so they have to lock them up and basically separate them from the general population so they don't do any damage. And they are quite well hidden. Not a lot of other species know about Ardakyashi besides ASARI themselves. They back in the olden days, the ASARI used to see them as gods of destruction. So they carry a history with them that leads them to being locked up. Hate to say it, sorry girlies. But yeah. Also, another little bit that I'm going to add at the end of each section of biology that I talk about is a little trivia fact. And the trivia facts for the ASARI is that they can see UV light and are one of the only races to possess a belly button. So the next one is TURIANS. Personal favourite of mine. TURIANS are bipedal bird reptile amalgamations. They're like dinosaurs, and they're from a planet called Palaven. Now, Palaven is a hot girly pop because of the weak magnetic field of their home planet, and this is because the planet's core has a very low metal contents. Therefore, Turians and a lot of the other native organisms to Palaven possess a really thick metallic carapace which contains thulium, and thulium, as a fun little fact, it has the atomic number of 69, which I thought was quite funny. This protects them from UV radiation that they would experience on their planet, thanks to thulium's high resistance to oxidation and ionization. So quite a good little bit of evolution there. Despite Turians looking like really cool dinosaur birds that tend to average stand above 6 foot tall, they do give birth vivipariously, which means they give birth to live young rather than laying an egg. And the sexual dimorphism in Turians is very difficult to spot. The men and women look incredibly similar to each other. But the main difference is that women tend to have more flayed out and fanned out crests on their face rather than the swept back ones that the males possess, and women have much bigger and more cat-shaped eyes in comparison to male Turians. And lifespan-wise, Turians tend to live to the same age as humans in this timeline, up to about 150 years old, which gives me a lot of hope since I picked the destruction ending, and Garrus and Fenshep can live in peace until they are old and decrepit at 150. Turians are also very much predator-shaped. Not like Chris Hansen's gonna catch them in a kitchen. I mean, like an actual like a leopard or a cheetah, okay? Because they have the forward-facing eyes and these really reptilian jaws and mandibles, and their teeth as well, very thin canine-like shape, which suggests a majority carnivorous diet. Which is true. They do tend to only eat meat. Turians are also very slender and streamlined. Due to having no hair, they have fewer feet and hand digits, and they have the swept back crests, suggesting that they can move really, really fast. They are basically aerodynamically swift. They are like the aerodynamic lobster meme. Turian blood is blue thanks to hemocyanin. This is the bits about blood, by the way, are kind of my own hypothesis based on what I know about animal blood, but I would chalk it down to hemocyanin, which is commonly found in horseshoe crabs, squid, octopuses, and spiders here on Earth. Hemocyanin utilizes copper rather than iron, which gives the blue colouring to the blood. And hemocyanin is a lot more efficient at storing oxygen in comparison to human hemoglobin. Hemocyanin carries about 96 oxygen molecules in comparison to the very measly 4 oxygen molecules that can be carried by 1 unit of hemoglobin, suggesting that maybe Turians fare better in low oxygen environments rather than high oxygen environments. Either way, Turians have that big breath is what I'm saying. Turians are also only one of 2 species that eat a diet based on dextro amino acids rather than levo amino acids like the rest of the Milky Way. Dextro amino acids are rarely utilized on Earth, mainly being used by bacteria. However, the difference between dextro and levo is quite simple. If you are a chemistry student or know anything about chemistry, you might understand where I'm coming from here. My chemistry A level is like... For any chemistry students, you'll probably understand what I'm saying. Dextro is right-handed, levo is left-handed in 3D space. So all that means for the people who don't know what I'm talking about is that they are positioned differently in 3D space. So like if you had it as like a structure in your hand, it would look different whether you were, depending on which way you were holding it, and there's a left-handed side and a right-handed side. If you would like to understand why this makes a difference to the way that they eat and what they eat, just look up the thalidomide incident that happened in the 60s. That is a really good example for left-handed and right-handed chemicals and how it can cause a really big problem. Now, humans do utilize some D amino acids, but very few in comparison to Turians. In fact, humans tend to utilize ours for microbial. Oh my god. Girl, I've got a biology degree and I can't say microbial. I said it, microbial. Microbial defense. That's what we use the amino acids for in our gut lining. This level and textural difference can cause allergies in some individuals. For example, humans can be allergic to Turian and Quarian food, or it can be the other way around. It tends to be the other way around for Quarians quite a lot because Quarians have really weak immune systems, so they do tend to be allergic to Levo food. In fact, as a fun little fact on the side of this, modern solace does suggest that this can interfere with sexual relations between Turians and humans, for example, or ASARI and Turians. But the trivia for Turians is that Turians have similar digestive systems to birds, and what I mean by that is they may need to swallow rocks to assist in digestion. Also, Turians cannot swim very well as they are too heavy and dense to float properly in the water. Now, our next one is Salarians. Salarians are probably the only warm-blooded, egg-laying amphibians in the whole lore. They originally come from a jungle-like warm planet called Sakesh, and Sakesh looks so cute. It's like Latin America, but like futuristic and full of frog people. So they have one of the shortest lifespans out of all of the races because they have such fast metabolisms. They tend to live to around the age of 40. It's rare to find anyone over the age of 40 who's a Salarian. But anatomy-wise, Salarians are made mostly out of cartilage rather than bone and have varying skin colorations. So you can find ones that are green, you can find people who have brown or red or orange. Yeah, they vary quite a lot, just like frogs. Salarians also have very large eyes. They are probably about that big. They are huge. And these eyes utilize membranes similar to crocodiles and frogs, which cause them to blink upwards rather than downwards like humans do. They also have horizontal and slitted pupils and have little to no sclera. They just have the pupil and then a huge iris. Salarians also utilize green blood, which is sulfhemoglobin, which can occur in humans, but that tends to be a medical condition that requires treatment. But there's also earth insects that utilize sulfhemoglobin, which are grasshoppers, and segmented worms tend to utilize sulfhemoglobin. Now, about the egg situation that I mentioned earlier, Salarians utilize diploid eggs, so if a female lays eggs with no fertilization from a male, the resulting offspring are fully male and vice versa. So if they are fertilized, then the eggs become female. This makes it more likely to find male Salarians than female Salarians, with 90% of the population of Salarians being male. Ugh, couldn't be me. Due to Salarian culture around egg fertilization, this is why the balance is so off for males and females, purely because of the culture around it. It's a very weird culture. Reproduction is not hormonally charged in Salarians, therefore it is seen as a cultural and contractual occurrence. So it's got an entire ritual around it of laying eggs and fertilizing them. You tend to lead to egg fertilization when two families want to make a contract or a business together. It's very weird. It's basically saying, yeah, I'll have kids with you if you want to help me set up my vegan baking business. Sexual dimorphism is basically non-existent in Salarians as well. Besides the voices, you can hear a difference in the voices, but that's about it. Which therefore makes them androgynous, as both male and females more or less look exactly the same. I'll literally put up examples of, I'll put a male on the left and a female on the right. Give me a difference. There is none. It's a trick answer. It's a trick question, is what I meant. And the Salarian trivia that I'm going to throw at you is that Salarians tend to run on 1 hour of sleep a day because of their high metabolisms, and they possess a photographic memory. The next one, which I think is the last one, this might be a short video. I'm lying, it's already at 22 minutes recording, so I'm a little liar. Pee pee poo poo, pants on fire. The next one is one of my personal favourites. It's the Krogan. I love the Krogan. Big fellas from Tachanka, big fellas from the capital wasteland that are reptilian in nature. So Krogans share Asari's long life cycles. They tend to live well over 1,000 years, and they have really wide set eyes. And because of that, they have 240-degree vision, which I thought was quite cool. Prior to the genocidal sterilization of Krogans after the Rachni Wars, Krogans could reproduce in ridiculous numbers. I'm not even kidding. Females could lay up to 1,000 eggs a year. I don't even think I've got 1,000 eggs left in my ovaries by this point. Are you kidding me? God damn. Krogans also typically grow over 7 foot and tend to weigh around 800 pounds. Yet again, goddamn, what are you feeding these reptilian little bitches? Now, obviously they have a, Krogan also draw similarities to camels. Krogans draw similarity to the camels because of the hump that they have around the back of their heads. It stores fats, waters, nutrients, all that good stuff for the planet that they live on. It's quite deserty, it's quite warm and hot. So Krogans actually require little to no water because of this hump. Okay, Fergie. So a 55-gallon tank of water could keep an entire colony of Krogans happy for about well over 10 years. They have like a thimble of water and they're like, don't need a drink for the rest of the year. Sorry. Another thing about Krogans is that they have very thick skin, metaphorically and physically, both work, because they all shade the boots out of each other every 5 minutes. They do not care about each other's feelings, they just want to headbutt each other all the time. This makes them really tough in a fight, and they are immune to nearly any type of damage you could throw at them, so like toxins, radiations, poisonings. Brute force doesn't tend to kill them. In fact, the alcohol that they make, which is called rinkol, is basically poison for other species because it's made for Krogan systems, which can handle a lot thicker of a punch than a measly human could. Krogans also have this developed plating similar to human baby skulls. It kind of, when they're fresh out the tank in Grunt's case, they have all these separated little plates, and then as they get older it kind of solidifies into one big plate. And so they also have the squishy baby head trope that we have. These plates darken in colour and they thicken into proper adult plates, and that's usually a sign of adulthood. Krogans also possess backup or redundant organ systems, so in the case of organ systems failing, dying, getting injured, they've got a backup plan. So they have 2 hearts, 4 lungs, so they have 2 sets of lungs, 2 nervous systems, which is what makes them basically immune to paralysis. This includes sexual organs. So Krogans have 4 big balls. And there's even a slang term for it. They call them quads, which is kind of funny. See, when I told my boyfriend this, he asked if they had 2 penises, and I didn't know how to answer that question because we don't know. Those poor Krogan women. Or maybe it's good, who knows, I don't know. Bit scared. Krogan blood is a difficult one. It's one that I struggled with. They bleed an orangey yellow colour, but it's never stated if this is actually blood or just the neuroconductive fluid that they use in their nervous systems. I couldn't find any examples of naturally occurring orangey yellow blood, so that wasn't to do with periods or STDs, so it's an absolute mystery to me. But the Krogan trivia fun fact that I'm going to throw at you is that Krogans have one physical weakness that they are scared shitless of. That is being the plating that we mentioned earlier on the head. If you ply it open with a knife at the right spot, you can crack the plate off and kill them. bit scary, but it's true. Thank you so much if you watched this. I probably will do a part 2 because I do want to talk about a lot of other characters, but I can't be arsed editing like a 50-minute video again. I think it'll kill me off. I'm going to be graduating this summer, so hopefully I'll be doing a lot more videos in the summertime back home, hopefully in my bedroom this time, because filming in that kitchen was a nightmare. Not as much of a nightmare as it is filming here because my setup is painful. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you could like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it, just to show that you like the video and stuff. And you know the usual drill. It'd be nice if you checked out my Instagram or my Tumblr, and I will come to your house and give you cookies and milk, or vegan alternative cookies and milk. Just if you like or subscribe the video, don't worry, they'll come in the mail, you'll see them eventually. Thank you so much for watching. If you have, I just thought I'd do a short little video. Like I said, I will probably be doing a part 2 to this, but yeah, thank you so much, and bye.